So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. English day payah agak. Saya dah lama tak cakap English ni. Duduk kat rumah ni, lama sangat. Terlebih dahulu kami mengucapkan terima kasih kerana sudi datang. Memandangkan banyak aktiviti yang berlaku di universiti, saya rasa half of us tak boleh make it. Walau bagaimanapun kita akan cuba teruskan juga kita punya bengkel. Dan terlebih dahulu saya bagi pihak PPI ingin memaklumkan bahawa Profesor Zara tak dapat datang pagi ini. Dia akan datang join kita pada petang nanti sebab dia emergency kena cabut gigi semalam. So dia punya bius masih sakit lagi this morning. So hopefully he will make it lah this afternoon. Okay, for this morning there is a taklimat. Okay, I will brief you about the proposal wise and so on. But eventually you will log in into the Science Funds punya homepage, so that we are hoping to go online. So let us look at the contents this morning. So our aim is at the end of today or tomorrow, you'll be able to submit your proposal to MOSTI. Okay, at the end of today or tomorrow, you'll be able to submit your proposal to MOSTI, and we are hoping too that you bring with you your proposal. Okay, if you have it within the Microsoft Word, then you can copy and paste. But if you have your proposal ready online within the Science Funds applications, then that will be advantage for you. We will polish for your budgeting and so on. And then hopefully you'll be submitting it by the end of today. If you submit it by the end of today, it means that you don't have to come for tomorrow. Our intention is that we want you to submit by tomorrow. Okay? So if you can submit by tomorrow, it means that the hassle will be free by tomorrow. So you don't have to look at it anymore. You don't have to look at it anymore, and your mind will be clear after that. Okay? So eventually, if you don't have the online proposals, then you can copy and paste from your Microsoft Words. Okay, we already have our Wi-Fi and network. For each table, we have 2 network connection. Okay, for our Swiss, and we have Wi-Fi. So it means that you can go online immediately. Okay, nevertheless, let us look at what we have in place. Let's just recap. Everything will be in your folder. Okay, will be in your folder. The slide will be in your folder. And if you need this panduan penyelidikan, our Urusia will give it to you if you don't have any. Okay, in your folder as well, there is comments from the rejected application last times, just for your attention, so that you don't repeat the same mistake as others. We learn from our mistakes, so we don't need to do it again, because there's a lot of comments, useful comments from the rejected proposals last time. Okay, and there's also an application, the successful application from Professor Zara, who got 210,000 in the application 2006. Okay, let us look at Vision 2020. As you all know, a contributor to the scientific and technological civilization of the future. So, in line with our Vision 2020, our mission is to produce and train competitive professionals and technologists of high ethical values in the global arena through holistic academic programs, knowledge and research culture based on the concept of Tawhid. Okay, as far as UTHM concerns, we have created the research culture at university. So you notice that we have our short-term grant, okay, available to all the new academicians. We give 10K to each academician who apply. Okay, and then for that short-term grant, we already disbursed 1.6 million. Okay, 1.6 million since 2007. And then we also have the short-term grant and the FRGS. Okay, FRGS we have 6.7 million. Okay, so looking at the pre-R&D in 9 Malaysian plan, our pre-R&D we have our short-term grant, we disbursed 1.6 million. Our FRGS we got 6.7 million, and our science fund so far we only got 1.7 million. So we are hoping that this year we get few applications from the researchers so that we can submit it to MOSTI. Okay, so what is lacking right now is that our R&D for science fund is not that popular. Most of the researchers at UTHM, they like to apply for short-term grant and FRGS. Why? Because it is more easier. If you have to apply to science fund, I knew that it is a bit difficult because you have to write your proposal online, and then the amendment, the budgetings and so on are quite difficult to handle and to do it online. So we are here to help you. We have our facilitators. They are in front of us. Prof. Saparudin will help you, and Agong will help you as well. And Adnan ada? Okay, and Chan, they will help you in terms of facilitating you in terms of your budgetings and proposals and so on. So if you have any help later on, you can just raise your hand and we come to you to assist you for your budgetings and for your filling up your proposals. Okay, and we have Technofund as well. So far we have one successful applicant who already applied for Technofund, who already have the Technofund budget. Okay, let us just look at the recap. The science fund is managed, FRGS is managed by KPT, science fund is managed by MOSTI. It has 2 strategic basic research and applied research, so you can do it either strategic basic research or applied research. There is 4 research clusters: biotechnology, ICT, industry, or C2 space. Most of us will go into either ICT or industry. For the science social people, you go into C2 space. Okay, your cluster will be C2 space. Now the project duration, the maximum for ICT will be 18 months. You cannot go beyond 18 months. 12 months should be okay, but don't go beyond 18 months for ICT. For other clusters, maximum is 24 months. If you want to do for 12 months, 18 months, or how many months, it is okay, but do not go beyond 24 months. Okay, that is the maximum of the durations for the project. Okay, the purpose of science funds is to support R&D project which can generate new knowledge in strategic, basic and applied science and develop new product or processes. These are the things that you have to consider in your mind when you do the output for your research. You must generate new knowledge or develop new product or new processes, protocol or architecture or framework. The new must be there, okay, for your research cluster. And the outcome of research should be commercialized potential. There is another way to consider the successful of your applications. Okay, if you have this kind of elements in your proposal, then the success failure will be there. Okay, so any questions so far? The overview. Now for the project applications, my intention is for you to look at the slides and at the same time log in into the science fund applications. Okay, we do it parallel, so it'll be more easier for you. While I'll brief it for upfront, you can somehow already, orang kata sambil-sambil go online. Okay, the first important part will be your project number, project title, project objectives, SEO and FOR. Okay, if you can go into the Science Funds punya homepage, okay, you have the address or not? ernd.mosti.gov.my/science /E science ones. Okay, so I'm hoping that everybody has the username and password. Boleh tahu tak siapa yang tak ada username and password? Belum lagi Dua. Okay, pada siapa-siapa yang dah ada username and password, you can log in. Pada siapa-siapa yang tak ada username, what you can do, you go here, register new user. Pada siapa-siapa yang tak ada username lagi, you register new user di sini. Okay, you can register new user. Okay, register new user. And then, once you register new user, you just type in your detail and then you submit. We can create your account within 10 to 15 minutes after you submit. Okay? So fill in your username. Once you fill in your username, you click submit. Then the auditor will give you the passwords later on within 15 minutes. Okay? If you can do that. Pada siapa-siapa yang dah ada username and password, you can log in. You notice that if you log in, then you can somehow look at the menu in front of you. Then you can go into project application. It will be different, a bit different from what you view and with what we view, because we log in as an administrator. So when you look into your project identification, don't worry about the project number. It will be automatically generated by the system. What you need is to put in your project title. Okay, your project title should be concise, clearly indicating the subject of investigation and reflecting the key ideas of the project. Okay, the keyword yang we usually do adalah development. So you know that you want to develop a prototype, or you don't want to develop a system, or you want to develop a product. Okay, most of the time we use the keyword to help identify our project title, to develop a tool. Okay, development of something. Apa ni? Kenapa? Sam panggil technician. Ada yang dapat font. Kalau font you all tak betul untuk mesti punya ni, then you have to ask our technician to set up the setting balik semula. Okay, project objective. Your project objective mesti measurable objective. Okay. For example, to determine, to define, to build. Okay, for example, I'm giving you all the example of the keyword. To define, to determine, to identify. That will be more easier for you. Precise and concise for your objective. If you can, then to determine something, to define something, to build something. Okay, then it's either strategic, basic research, or applied research. For your research cluster, for your SEO and FOR, is a pull down menu. Okay, pull down menu, it means that you just drag the pull down and then choose your research cluster. Sam, charge battery. Okay, for your research cluster, what you need to do is just, this is a pull down menu. You just drag whatever that your research cluster should be in. Either it's agriculture, biotechnology, industry, ICT, SAT services, or C2 space. Once you drag that, then you can do the next. pull down menu. Okay, so later on I will explain more about this. For your SEO and for your FOR, you need the pull down menu. And for your research background, saya akan pergi a bit quickly, later on kita akan assist you lagi. For your research background, you have to identify whether it's a new modification atau extension. Your project summary, what you can do later on is you copy from your Microsoft Word and you paste it to this project summary, literature review, and then your related research. Every time you do your updating or whatsoever, make sure you click the save button. Make sure you click the save button in order to save all your works. If failure of the something fail or whatsoever, if you fail to save, then everything will be gone. Okay, if you have relevant past research, then you can put it in. If it is new, then you don't have any relevant past research. Your research background, your research approach consists of your methodology. So you put in your methodology and your project activity. Okay, you have to remember for your research approach, there is a next page button. Okay, there is a next page button that you have to click on it. Make sure you remember to click on the next page button so that you get your activities. List all your activities according to your methodology. Okay, list your activities according to your methodology. If you have activity 1, just list your activity from what day to what day. For example, for April, from April 2009 to June 2009. And then you can add your activity. You must include all activity that you plan to do during your research. Okay. If you think that it is not good, you want to modify it, then you just click on it, you delete it. Okay. The same as your milestone. Add it. Okay. For example, you have your prototype at December 2009, for example, ready. Then you add your milestone. Okay, in case you don't need your milestone anymore, then you just delete it. Okay, later on we will assist you again in terms of this. I'll just briefly explain to you what sort of things that you need to know regarding your proposals. Okay. Now, for your project schedule, everything will be in the slide. Refer your slide. Saya refer balik semula pada slide. For your project schedule, don't worry, dia adalah automatic generation from the system. Provided you do it correctly, your project schedule will automatic generated your schedule and your milestone. Okay, where does this come from? It comes from the way that you organize your activity and milestone from the research approach. Okay, this one last time, your activity and your milestone that you list down, then dia akan ambil benda ni and dia akan generate project schedule. Okay, so far boleh? Laju sangat? Tak? Laju? Okay, part mana yang saya kena explain balik? Macam mana? You type first, you ask later? Okay, so far okay tak? Manageable atau tidak? Ke semua dah lost? Dah lost dah? In space. Habiskan semua kali. Okay, saya habiskan. Saya just beritahu je lah. Saya beritahu je here and there. And later on bila you masuk dalam application, dan kita akan the facilitator Faci and saya, we will help you later on. So saya akan go terus kepada PowerPoint saya. Lebih senang macam itu ya. Okay, starting date, kalau boleh nanti dalam you punya research proposal, your starting date will be 1st of September 2008, anticipating that the approval took 3 months from now. Kita akan submit 16 June to the MOSTI. By 16 June kita submit to MOSTI, it will take them for 2 to 3 months to approve our application. So your starting date will be 1st September, your completion date will be 31st of August 2010, provided it's 24 months. Okay, make sure project schedule you don't have to worry. What you need to do is your research methodology, your project activities, your milestone. Now for milestone, kita punya norm adalah for every 6 months, 1 milestone. Jangan for every month, 1 milestone. Dan it will be difficult for you and it will be difficult for us. You make your life miserable, you make our life miserable. You buat milestone every single month. Every 6 months, 1 milestone. So it will be more easier for them to monitor you, it will be more easier for us to monitor you. Or else every 3 months kita tanya, dah milestone you dah tercapai, milestone you tercapai. So it will be going to be difficult for us to monitor. So it will be more easier for you, life will be more easier if you put 1 milestone every 6 months. Because your budgeting will depend on your milestone as well. And they disburse the money staging, bukan lump sum. That's why it depends on your milestone. If you achieve 1 milestone, then the next money will come in. If you achieve the next milestone, then the money will come in. It's not the same as FRGS. FRGS, they give you, if you get 100k, then they give you lump sum 100k. But not science fund, they give you staging. First stage, second stage, and third stage. So it will depend on your milestone. That's why we encourage you to put 3 to 4 milestones for 24 months punya project. Okay? Benefit of the project, for example, jangan malu-malu. If you have your output will be prototype, then put the prototype. If your output will be process or protocol or framework, then put it in. But we also measure your output by means of postgraduate students. Okay, for your postgraduate students, for example, your master student, your PhD students, okay, that will be your output. Okay, so indicate your PSM, how many? For undergrad, probably 1 or 2. Indicate your master student, you probably produce 1 or 2. It does not really matter if your project finished, but your master or PhD student that, has not finished yet. Okay, it doesn't really matter. But at least within this project, you can engage 1 or 2 masters or PhD students. Okay. Your research collaboration, you must indicate if you collaborate with other institutions, for example with CIRIMS or with other institutions. Remember, on the research collaboration, there is always a next page button that you have to click on it in order to get the cost estimations for your month. Okay, for in your project budgeting, the first important part is about your month. Okay, now if you are familiar with the ERPA last time, our month adalah 24 days per month. But for science fund, our man days adalah 20 days per month, because we only work 5 days per week, so we have 20 working days per month. Okay, for month. So if you can commit 1 day per week, it means that you can commit 4 days per month for your project. So your month for 18 months project, if you can commit 1 day per week, then maximum is 4 months only. For 20 months project, maximum is 5 months only. Okay, you have to be ideal with your month. Do not go overboard. Do not go more than 10 months, because in a reality, you can only work 2 days per week. Okay, maximum 2 days per week doing research. Other than that, you probably have to do teaching and learning and your admin work and your other stuff. So do not go beyond 2 days per week for maximum strength of your commitment towards your research. So we will look at your month. Maximum for 24 months for your 2 days commitment per week will be 10 months. So do not go beyond 10 months for 24 months project, and do not go beyond 7 months for 18 months project when you put in your month later on. Okay, there is a slot for you to fill in your main month later on. So don't go beyond these calculations. Okay, faham? Main month? There is one page for you to fill in this later on. But later on I will explain it again if you need. And for your other researcher, you have to invite them. Okay, how to add in researcher in your proposal? Okay, there is a search a user button inside the application. You have to fill in the name and search a user and invite them so that you can put the names inside your applications. Okay, so there is a search a user button for you to invite your all other researchers apart from project leader. You cannot just list the researchers. Okay, you have to invite the researcher inside so that you get all the researchers in. Then you can put in the main month for each researcher. Okay, that's the a bit tedious lah. But we are hoping by end of this, don't worry, by end of today, you will master the applications. Lah pula. Okay, in terms of staff cost estimation, okay, our guidelines for science fund we already put in your folder. If you want to refer to the guideline for science fund. But I just want to highlight the research utilization factor. We have agreed at UTHM that we are using 1.2 as our RUF. How do we get this? The guideline will tell you how to get 1.2. Basically, the activities that you spend on the research divided by plus the training and so on divided by the activities, then we will get your RUF. Okay, so we already agreed at UTHM our RUF is 1.2. So in the staff cost estimation, the first thing that you have to do is to indicate the daily rate for each researcher and for project leader. So these are the daily rates that we use for our staff at UTHM. It might differ from other universities, but we use this as our guideline for UTHM. Okay, so if you are a professor or contract staff, roughly your salary is about 10,000 per month. So we divided by 20, we multiply by our RUF 1.2. So your cost for professor will be 600 per day. That is the daily rate. For associate professor will be 480. For senior lecturer will be 360. For lecturer will be 300. For contract staff will be 120. For supporting staff will be 60 ringgit. Now, if your researchers consist of associate professors, professors and lecturers, that kind of combinations, you add and you divide. It means that if you have 3 researchers with the combination of professor, associate professor and senior lecturer, you put 600 plus 480 plus 360 divided by 3. Then you get the average of the researchers. If you have various kind of researchers that has various kind of salaries. Okay, for project leader, if you are a project leader, if you are a professor, then the daily rate will be 600. If you are associate professor, the daily rate will be 480. Senior lecturer 360. Okay, it goes something like that. Okay, this is important. Okay, this is important. This is the first thing that you have to do in your staff cost estimation. If you don't do this, then the system will not be able to generate the budget for your applications. Okay, the budget will be generated by the system depending on your daily rate. Okay, so when you do your activity later on, you have to counter check your main days. You have to list your activity. You have to list how many days that you can commit for each activities. So your main days must tally your main months that you produce before this. If you said that your main month is 7 months, then when you list all your activities for your main days, there is a button there. It's not really a button. Okay, this is the thing that I said just now. Your project leader, researcher and supporting staff and contract staff, you have to set what is your daily rate. When you want to put in your daily rate, use our guideline. Okay, use our guideline for the daily rate. And then you have to list your activities. Okay, list your activities here and then you add. When you list your activities here, for example, activity 1, how many days that you can commit for that activities? For example, you can commit only 12 days. That is for you. But for researcher, if you have more than one researcher, you have to click edit and put in how many man days that you can put in for every researcher. For example, one researcher is 12 days, another researcher is 8 days. Okay, and then you save. Okay, if you have support staff, then how many man days that support staff can commit for that particular activities. For contract staff as well, for example, 10 days. Then which year that they should commit, 2008 or 2009. Then you add. Once you add your activity, it will appear here, depending on what year. So it will appear there, and it will calculate your total. Don't worry about this one, the budgeting. It will automatically calculate for you. Okay, what important will be this? Okay, for this one, the total man month, once you calculate your activities, your total man month for project leader, for researcher and for contract staff should tally the one that you have to remember, the one that this will be automatically generated by the system. Even though it's automatically generated by the system, it must be tally with the one that you put in your staff cost estimation. During your project, when you set how your man month for project leader 7, and man month for each of your researcher, man month for your contract staff should be tally with the total activities later on. Okay, to counter check whether your activities should tally with the one that you prescribed before it. Okay. Don't worry if you don't understand, then later on we tell you again. Okay, in case I forgot, this is where you have to do your search a user. If you want to add in your research, your friend, you click search a user. If you want to add a researcher, you can always use string. For example, Yusri, use star in order to make it more quicker. But for your organization, always put, unless it is your member come from different organization, just indicate which organizations that member comes from. Okay, for us, Universiti Tun Hussein Malaysia, on dia tertinggal. Okay, and then if you search, you have that person, then you just click on it, then dia akan masuk. Okay, and then how many months you still can do it? 5 months, for example. Then you add. Baru member tu boleh masuk dalam you punya team. Kalau tidak, member tu tak boleh masuk. In case dia kata dengan you, saya tak nak lah you punya project, because your project tak best. Okay, fine. You just delete it. Okay? That is if you want to invite other researcher in. Okay, make sure your direct expense estimation based on the guidelines yang kita ada for science fund. Any buying equipment above 50k, you mesti ada sebut harga. Upload your sebut harga. Soft copy ada the upload file. Okay, kalau boleh you pecahkan your equipment so that 10k, 20k, 30k will be more easier You justify, tak perlulah ada sebut harga. That is how we escape from the sebut harga. Okay, for our direct expense estimation, dia ada dia punya vote dia yang you kena masukkan. For temporary and contract personnel, for your research assistant, do not go above 3 personal contract staff. Maksudnya you boleh ada 3 RA. Okay, not more than 3 RA within a project. So you can request 3 RA. You have to remember all the salaries for the researchers that belongs to UTHM, Science Fund tak bayar. But for the salary for contract personnel, for your research assistant, that Science Fund will cover for you. Okay. For travel and transportation, overseas trips once per project. But 2 people can go for overseas trip. Nevertheless, your overseas trip should be up to 15% of your total expenses, or 30,000, whichever is less. If you want to go for overseas for presenting papers or whatsoever, should not go beyond 30,000 or 15% of your total budget. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay, for rental, if you want to rent building space, if you want to rent equipment and transportation, just list whatever the things that you want to rent in your budget. For research material, for your research material and supplies, if you want to buy expenses, for example, your books, you have to put how many, if you want to buy books, how much, 1K or 200K or whatever, just list it out. And sometimes if you want to split your expenses for your equipment, you can put under research material and supplies. Okay, for example, some of the devices, if it is too much for your R&D equipment, put it under research material and supply. For example, you want to buy one device or one network sensor or whatever, put it under vote 26,000. Okay, to lessen the 40% of R&D equipment and accessories. For R&D equipment and accessories, funding is maximum 40% of the total project expenses or 100K, whichever is less. Okay, for maintenance cost, you can put it under vote 2,000 or under vote 2,000. For special service, if you want to ask for consultations from other expert people, then you can put it in. For data processing, for example, you have to put it in how much that you ask for data processing or for enumerators and so on. This goes under special service for science social especially. Okay. Other matters, make sure for every researcher you include your CV. You have to include your CV. CV maintenance will be there. Update your CV. If you invite other researcher, that researcher must update his CV or her CV. Baru kita boleh submit. Okay? Everybody has to update dia punya CV masing-masing. Any supporting documents you need to upload. Okay, CV maintenance, for each researcher mesti buat maintenance of your CV. Okay, CV maintenance masing-masing kena buat. Make sure all this CV dah update. CV pun online. Okay, research profile, education, semua ni ada dia punya field dia. So you have to fill up most of the fields inside your CV maintenance for each researcher. Okay, so yang ni semua kena ada dia punya maintenance dia. Make sure you save your record. If you have anything anything to upload, you can just always upload file. Okay, upload file and then you just browse, just whatever file that you need, then you just put it in and just upload. Okay, now kita ada juga masukkan list of comments. Okay, list of comment from MOSTI for the rejected applications. So for the rejected application, last week we have a dialogue with MOSTI. and we asked them about these rejected applications. They said what we can do is to fill up again with the same project and then resubmit for appeal process. Okay, so siapa-siapa yang nak resubmit, you can do so. But please don't make the same mistake as what in the comments saying that what kind of comments, especially objectives are not clear, research methodology tak in line with the objective and so on and so forth. You can see a lot of comments from mostly from our proposal. As what I said before, we learn from our mistakes and we are hoping that we don't make the same mistake for our new proposals. Okay, once you submit your proposal, there will be 3 stages. You will receive email from the screening our inside institutions, which is PPI. When you submit, then PPI will evaluate, our committee will evaluate your submissions. Everything will be clear, then we will submit it to MOSTI. Once we will submit to MOSTI, you will receive an email indicating that the internal institution has approved your application. You will receive that email. That email will indicate that UTHM has approved your application, but not MOSTI. Okay, so once we submit to MOSTI, there are the 2 committee, technical and financial committee will have a meeting and they will approve your application. Now once they approve your application, you will receive another email indicating that your proposal is recommended. Okay, once your proposal is recommended, there is another committee which is the final committee, approval committee. Based on our experience, most of our proposal pass the institutional screening and technical and financial committee. But most of us, we will fail approval committee. This is orang yang besar sekali yang approve. Okay, so we always fail for approval committee. So we are hoping that this time we have success rate for these applications. Okay, due date for the submission will be 16 June. Make sure you submit before 16 June for application. But we are hoping that you submit it by today or by tomorrow. So, because we will be here until tomorrow, so that will be more easier for you. Once you submit, then you will do other stuff after this. Don't need to remember about your proposal anymore. So, you just have to wait for the approval from the AC committee. Okay, so thank you for your participation and we wish you all the best. But you always have to remember, don't ever give up. Nothing is impossible. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Any question? No? Yes, yes. Saya tak dengar langsung. 16 Jun. Ha. Ya. If it is more than 50k, if it is less than 50k, it's okay. You don't have, you don't need that support harga. If it is more than 50k, what you need is we can help you. Okay, kita akan tolong you dapatkan support harga, like the quickest way. So you let us know what kind of things that you want to buy. Our staff will help you to find the support harga more quicker. Okay. Apa dia? It's just a support harga from any company, bukan from CMCA. Jangan dilihat CMCA, nanti kan lambat pula ceritanya. Kita just nak roughly sebut harga untuk that device or that equipment. Sebab so that mesti tahu that kita dah buat kita punya survey that, like for example equipment ni harga dia, kita kata kita nak beli satu equipment harga dia 100k. How do we justify that equipment worth 100k? So roughly kita akan panggil company, can you give me this sebut harga. Then that company give roughly that, we upload that file. Itu saja. No, you click the button, it goes to us first. It goes to us first, the institutional screening PPI. We will screen through whether your man is correct, your budgeting is within the guidelines and so on. We will check for you. Okay, that's why there is a grace period for 1 week. Something goes wrong, something is not correct, we will bounce back to you again. Okay, it means that once you receive an email saying that you have a mistake, this, you correct it and resubmit to us. Once you click the button, submit button, it doesn't go to Mosti, it goes to us. We will check first. Once everything clear, then we submit to Mosti. Yes, within one week period. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. You want to do it now? Saya tak berapa dengar. Expert service, yes, you invite for consultancy. Put it ke consultancy, how much do you want to pay that particular people? Dalam direct expenses for this research consultation under under special service. For example, under special service, if you want to have consultation, for example, then you indicate you nak 5,000 untuk tahun pertama, and you nak 10,000 untuk tahun kedua. Then you add consultancy for expert people. Then cakap lah contractor, payment of contractor. You have to list the details and then you add. Okay, list the detail and then you add. Okay, under special service, because this provided, jangan you minta sembarang. Provided this special service memang you kena buat. Maksudnya you have to pay for this contractor in order to for this research. If you can convince that should be okay. It will go under the special service. Okay. Any other question? You don't have the notebook. If you can have one notebook. It will be more easier for you to apply. Any other questions? No? You can, yes please. Sebenarnya saya tak dengar dia punya apa ni. Tak tahulah kenapa tapi quotation, the what? You just submit to us. If we you just click the submit button. If we see the more than 50k, we will do it for you. We will upload the necessary funds for you. Okay, that will be more easier. Okay, kalau tak ada, terima kasih. Good luck for your applications. Our facilitator will be here to assist you in your applications. If you have problems regarding your application, please raise your hand so that we can go to you. Okay, thank you very much.